Hello lovelies, welcome back to my channel, to my office, my makeup artist office. That's if you've been here before. If you're new here, welcome. It's a pleasure. Come on in, get cozy, and enjoy the ride. I hope you're all doing okay, like actually doing okay. I am hanging in there. Today's a good day, except every day feels like a Saturday, so I'm torn between relaxing and being productive or just getting stuff done. I just feel like that's what a Saturday is. It's one or the other, or it's a bonus if you can get them both done. So every day is a challenge when it comes to what am I going to make of myself today? Am I going to feel like a potato or not? Today I don't feel like so much of a potato, so that's cool. But potatoes are great and potatoes are awesome. So wherever you find yourself on the potato spectrum, I hope you're doing okay. Anywho, I'm really excited for today's video. It's super simple, and that's probably what I love about it. We love a good simplicity in life. This was actually, I'm too excited for my own good. This was actually per a recommendation of a really lovely follower and friend, Lucy, and it's also something that I had in mind actually since before I even started the channel. One of the first ideas that I had, we're talking and walking through some really simple graphic or bold, colorful eyeliner looks. It's a great thing because it doesn't require a lot of skill, it doesn't require a lot of time, and it doesn't require a lot of tools. And ultimately, you can leave the panic attack at the door, because if you're anything like me, the thought of eyeliner, especially if you're using maybe a liquid eyeliner or one in the little gel pot and you have to use a brush, can be a little anxiety inducing, especially if you have to actually be somewhere. I know nowadays is a little bit different. We have less external responsibilities. However, it still feels a little intimidating at times, and that's okay. That's coming from a makeup artist. That's coming from someone who's been doing makeup forever. It still drives me crazy. So this is going to be the solution to that. And what I'd recommend is having a pencil or a cream gel liner that comes in something like this. So a pencil slash pen stick. Maybe it's a stilo. I don't have my technical words right, but something that's sharpenable I think is one of the bonuses, because if you're not super skill heavy, like if you're not super talented in the liner department, I think one of the best tools you can have in your back pocket is just a sharp pencil, because that's going to give you more control, and control is the key when it comes to all of this. Or if you have something broken, just kidding, I just broke it when I opened it. If you have something retractable like this, I think that's going to be really helpful. So these are the three colors that I'm going to be using. They're all three different brands, and I'll walk you through them as I do the looks. But if you're in the market for a new pencil, I definitely endorse these that I'm using, and I'll explain to you why. But I'll always recommend, and first and foremost, I say use what you have, especially now. Now's the time to kind of fall back in love with what you've got and just to get some use out of it. And if you find that you're not using it, recycle it, donate it. I have some videos on that, so check those out, but do what feels right and what makes sense. Okay, let's get started. For the first look, this one's probably going to be the most simple just because it doesn't take up a lot of space, but it's going to pack a punch. And I think if you have something that's a little bit brighter or more bold, I think it would be really great to use. Guys, have you seen my marbles? I think I lost them. Anyway, if you only have darker liners, that's totally okay. Just know that it might be a little bit more dramatic and add more drama if you choose to apply it directly in the inner corner like we're about to do with this lighter color. I'm using this Shockwave Neon Eyeliner from LA Girl in the color Screamin'. I've had this liner for about a month or two now, and I really like it because it's a great price point, so I just think it's easily accessible, and they come in really fun colors. They're really pigmented, and they're really easy to glide. So I think if it's easy to use, if it's pigmented, and if it stays pretty well, you're good to go, regardless of how expensive it is. And this is so inexpensive, so I recommend trying it out. If I haven't used a liner in a while, one thing I like to do is just warm it up on the back of my hand. I don't do a lot of crazy back and forth, but just to get all around the tip of it nice and warmed up, just so that it's a little bit easier to glide on. Sometimes with these cream gel liners, they have a little bit of a top layer that forms over them, and that can make the first few swipes a little bit hard to apply. So get that out of the way, prime it, and then you're good to go. Hello there. Starting on the top lid and the inner corner of the eye, basically at the lash line, with really, really short strokes. And I'm not going any farther in than basically there. My eyes are really sensitive, so I'm already getting red, which is hilarious, but I promise I'm okay. Taking it down and around the tear duct, and then bringing it down onto the lower lash line, and having it match the top as far as how far out it goes. Using really light pressure and short strokes allows for really nice layers. If you go really heavy all at once, then that can make it a little bit chalky and a little bit too thick at first. So I always say start with really light pressure and then build on top as you wish. Doing the same on the other side. If you happen to get any on your eyelashes, and this goes for any placement of your eyeliner, whether it's in your inner corner or just on your regular lash line as normal, it's totally okay. Most of the time you can cover that up when you're using your mascara. If you don't use mascara, you can just use a cotton swab with a little bit of remover and just kind of brush it through your lashes and you should be good to go. Just take a second to check in, see if they're even, and even them as you need. If you want, you can even start to make a little bit of a point on the inner corner just to make it a little bit more artistic, a little more stylized. Just pay attention to the direction that you're going, because it can sometimes be easy, almost the same way as when you're doing a flick on the outside. You just want to pay attention to the angle, because sometimes if your angle is going a little bit too far down or in and the other one's going straight out, it can just look a little funky. But as always, they're sisters, not twins, and perfection is silliness. And there we have it. Look what is done, our simple inner corner liner. I think it really livens up the eyes, and if you're using a lighter color, it can definitely brighten and almost give you a little bit more of an awake look in the inner corner of the eyes. And I do think it's good for all different eye shapes and eye colors, whether you have really deep set eyes or close together, far apart, whatever that looks like. I think the closer together, you probably want to use a lighter color, and the more farther apart, you want to use a darker color just to create a little bit more definition, but have a field day with it. Liner look number 2 is the one we're all probably the most familiar with, and the one we've all probably done the most on ourselves if you've experimented with eyeliner at all, and that's just a really simple line going across the top lid. I'm using the Glossier Play Color Slide Techno Gel Eye Pencil in the shade Pretty Penny. I absolutely love these pencils. The color range is really great, but the formula is really awesome. It lasts really well, and it also glides really easily. Again, those are really important factors when you're looking for gel pencils, unless you want them to be really creamy to smudge, but that's not what we're going for today. I also really love this color. I think this color specifically looks great on just about every skin tone and every eye color, but I really recommend this color and other colors that I'll mention in a moment, and this style of eyeliner if you're really new to liner, or if you're just not comfortable with it, or if you've stuck to maybe using blacks and browns and aren't really ready to play with color and go full neon bright yellow just yet, which is totally fair, I totally get it. But using a color like this, something kind of coppery and light reflective, or one that's maybe more olive green, a navy blue, a plum purple, almost like a taupey gray. These are colors that are close to the darkness and the depth of the browns and the blacks that we're used to, but they're really fun ways to add a little bit more pizzazz without being really bright and overpowering, and I think it still provides a really beautiful actual depth to the line of your lashes if you choke on your spit. If that's why you use the darker colors in the first place, is to get that definition. Hopefully there's not too much shadow from my light, so bear with me. I like to start in my inner corner, again using really, really light pressure and really light strokes. You'll notice that I'm not heavy-handed and I'm not doing long, heavy strokes, because I think that makes it easy for us to draw lines that we're not completely confident in just yet. So when you draw your little outline first, that lays the foundation, and then you can be a little more serious about it as you go. Look at this color though, it's beautiful. I can't stress this enough. It's really important to keep your pencils sharp and to keep a pencil sharpener with you as you're doing your liner, because especially if you're using something kind of soft like these pencils, the point can get pretty dull pretty quickly, and your strength lies in the sharpness of the point of your pencil, especially if you want to do any type of detail, or if you want to get really into the inner corner like I do here, or if you want to start on a wing. Real talk, the sharpener that comes with the Glossier Play liners is really, really great. Like, I use it for other pencils that are not the Glossier pencils. It's just a great sharpener. Since we're not going for the full wing today, because again, we want to keep our anxiety at a minimum, I say just go to the very end and edge of your lash line, wherever your lashes stop, and you'll almost naturally create a little baby wing, but leave it there. Onto the other eye. I actually like to start on my outer corner on this eye, and I rest the meat of my thumb on my chin really lightly, especially if I'm already wearing makeup like I am now. I just don't want to mess it up and transfer too much, but this provides a little bit of stability if you feel unstable, which we all do at times. It's okay. Start at the outer corner. Don't think of a wing. Don't even think about it. It's not happening, and that's okay. You're still getting lovely, beautiful attention and definition on your eyeballs. So start right at the edge of your lash line, light short strokes, and you can go back and forth if you want, and then start to move toward the inner part of your eye. You may have to move your hand. I like to rest my pinky on my brow and go from an angle kind of downward rather than going straight ahead or going from the inner corner. I think you just get a little bit more control and you can apply your pencil a lot easier, especially if you have longer lashes. That's one thing that trips me up sometimes, is that I feel like I'm putting liner just on my lashes and not even on my eyelid. So when you go at an angle like this, you can get in between your lashes and actually onto your skin. Gives you a little bit of a leg up. And then as I get closer and my hand starts to feel awkward that way, then I move it back, rest my pinky on my nose, and start to draw on the end corner. Does anybody else stop breathing when they do this? Or is it just me? And then just go back and add your depth and your layers as you desire. If you can tell on my eyes, I actually haven't drawn my liner in this area. That's just naturally the shape and the fold of my lid. So it helps create almost a little bit of an outline for your liner. So I'm just tracing and drawing it inward since I'm not creating an outside flick. I love doing this liner just because it's a fun twist on liner that is really simple and pretty standard eyeliner, and it's the standard everybody can do this eyeliner. Now, one thing I always get asked when I do this type of liner is how I get the line so thin, and I really do think it's in keeping your pencil sharp as you apply your liner, and especially as you go in layers if you do, but also paying attention to the angle of your pencil. So especially when I talk about my non-dominant side, you notice that I changed angles like 3 or 4 times. That helps to keep the point as skinny as possible, because when you start to use it on the same angle, you use the flatter side of the point, and that creates more of a flat, fatter line. Words are really hard for me right now. Thank you for your patience. As I'm taking this off, I'm thinking about it a little bit more, and I totally understand that not everybody likes just the straight across liner look, and I think probably more that's the deal for you if you have larger eyes or more rounded eyes and you like the liner and you like the wing to be more elongated, just to elongate the eyes a little bit more if that's the look that you like. So I totally get it. I still recommend doing a liner look like this if you have larger eyes or if you have more rounded eyes, because you can still play with color. I just think the key is keeping your liner thin. Where we can go wrong is when you have thicker liner and you already have large eyes, and then it just feels a little bit more doll-like and less whew. And I realize that some people more like the whew. But keep your liner thin and you still get to play with the color, you still get to have a little bit of a look without the added stress of a wing. However, wings are beautiful and wings are so much fun, but start with little baby ones, and that way you can kind of build it up as you go. This is just to get us comfortable with liner and playing with color in the first place. On to look number 3, our final look and probably our most adventurous. This is a really fun kind of disconnected liner, I guess, using this ColourPop cream gel liner in the shade Boots. Starting on the lower lid, just at the lash line, not in the waterline, this part over here, but right where the skin is, kind of like the second part of our first look. And you don't want it to go too far in, just about there. If you're using a bolder color like this, feel free to use your finger or a Q-tip to almost blur the edge so that it's not as much of a stark line. Then, for the fun part, we go to the top lid and we start on the outer corner and we do the same thing. We don't go much further than about there. This is where we can maybe experiment with a little bit of a wing. Just doing little tiny flicks and going inside. See? Not too much bigger than that. Again, if you feel like your line is a little bit thick or just kind of a stark start and stop, use your finger or a Q-tip and blend it in the direction you want it to look like it's blending out from. So this is from the inner corner. Mirroring the same on the other side. And as always, as you go, just check in on both of your sides and try to even them out as best as you can. Regardless of the shape of your liner, like if you're doing number 1, number 2, or number 3 of today's liners, I will always recommend going as close to your lash line as you possibly can, because that ensures for that thin line and it gives you a little bit more control. It almost creates this little barrier for you. Your lashes are going to help you stay in the place that you need to. Then for our little tiny, baby tiny, teeny tiny wing, we are just going to follow the natural contour of the eye. So like you can tell, I have this little invisible built-in line here that's just going to help me create a little bit of an outline as to where I'm going to go. And starting from the outside and going in to avoid drawing too big of a flick. Beefing up this side just a little. This is always hard when you're using a pencil like this because it's hard to sharpen. So if you need to sharpen it, I recommend using the back of your hand and just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and then you get a little bit of an angle, or just totally scraping the top off and then you have a flat blunt edge and you can work a little bit more with that. And blend the edge with the rest of the lid. I just added some mascara so you can see what it would look like as a final look. Now one thing I'll say, again, if you're newer to the wings and this is a little intimidating, you can always just keep it close to the lash line. You don't need to wing it out at all, and just again use your finger or a Q-tip to blend and it'll look a little bit more seamless. Or if you want to try with the wings and they feel a little bit uneven, don't spend too much time on them because they're small and because they're going to be close to your eyes, and if your lashes at all happen to kind of be incorporated with them, especially straight on, kind of like mine are, you don't need to pay attention to the details that much. If it helps you a little bit more, use a Q-tip with a little bit of micellar water, or even just dry, or maybe some of your moisturizer, just something with a little bit of texture to it. That'll help to clean up and sharpen the wing if you like. And that is that on that. There we have it. We've got our 3 simple yet bold and fun, colorful eyeliner looks. Again, these are really, really heavy on the fun and the color, really light on the skill, the time, and hopefully the anxiety. If you like to take your look a little bit further, especially if you really like to play with color, or again you want to start playing with color a little bit more, I highly recommend using a little bit of an eyeshadow to kind of complement your liner. Wherever the liner is not, put some shadow there, or even just a little bit of shimmer. Like for this look specifically, I'd maybe put some shimmer just in the center of the lid for a little extra dimension and razzle dazzle. I'll say that a million times more, just you wait. Or especially with maybe like the first liner with just a little bit of the inner corner, play with some colored mascara. It would be so much fun. Like I have a really bright, bold blue mascara that I would love to wear with this one as well. So this is really just keeping a blank canvas on your eye without taking up too much space, but having a lot of impact as you go. I really hope you enjoyed walking through these looks as much as I did. I'm telling you, these are looks that I go for on a pretty regular basis. I have my go-to eyeshadow looks, but when it comes to liner, these are tried and true for me. They always deliver, and I always have a good time with them, and I feel very comfortable and confident, and you don't have to have a lot else going on. I think that's the beauty of it for me, is that this speaks for itself and creates the statement without being too heavy if that's not what you're into. Let me know if you saw or learned something new today, something that you may want to experiment with. I'm so excited to hear what your thoughts are on this, and if you've given it a try, or if you want to give it a try, or if you have any other suggestions for different shapes that you like to play with, colors or brands of liners that you like to use. Let me know. Let's have that conversation in the comments below. I'm so looking forward to it. Thank you to everybody who's subscribed. We're at almost 100 subscribers, you guys, and it's been under 2 months, and I can't believe it. I'm so internally, I guess, yes, internally and eternally, my insides and my eternity, thank you so much. And my battery's dying, so with that said, I gotta keep this short. Thank you so much. This is basically like the Oscars playing for me, like thank you so much. Thanks for hanging out with me today. It means the world. It truly